Hien Nguyen is an entrepreneur and futurist in the healthcare industry, specifically focused on space health tech and longevity. She is the CEO and founder of High Performance Center, a renowned facility that emphasizes functional medicine principles in achieving peak performance through nutrition, lifestyle, and training methods. With a background in physical therapy, functional medicine, naturopathy, and athletics, participating in multiple marathons and triathlons, Hien's passion for space health tech emerged. After completing the Space Studies program at the prestigious International Space University, she founded Space Connex with the aim of advancing space education to benefit humanity. Hien also hosts The Space Show, which aims to provide access to space exploration, science, technology, STEM education, and STEM careers for women and girls worldwide. Hien serves on the advisory boards of the Lifeboat Foundation, specifically in the areas of futurists, space settlement, and sustainability. Additionally, she is a board member of UAE's Trends Research and Advisory. Hien is among the inaugural participants of the Space for Women Mentor Network, a program by the United Nations Office for Outer Space Affairs that promotes gender equality and empowerment in the space sector. Furthermore, Hien has contributed to the 2022 publication Novel Innovation Design for the Future of Health by Springer Nature. Her book chapter titled Space Health Tech Innovation Base for Longevity. Hien's MTP is driving human evolution via longevity, space health tech, and consciousness.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another HealthGevity podcast. Today, we want to talk about somebody that is a futurist, longevity entrepreneur, and the founder of High Performance. We have Hien Nguyen with us today, and we have a lot of amazing topics to talk about. So let's welcome Hien. Thank you so much, Hien, for being with us today in HealthGevity podcast.
Thanks for having me, Dr. Dana. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. So let's start with a question that mostly I ask a lot of people first, and it's about the story behind your interest about longevity. Because even though our topic is about longevity and health, but since you have a good background about entrepreneurship also, we will go a little bit to the business, but our mostly the focus will be on health and longevity. So tell me about the story that how the first time that you got interested into this field, what have you done? And the whole process that now actually you have reached to this point.
How long do you want to go back in time?
First time, actually, because it's interesting for me to find out that moment that you discovered that, okay, this is something that I'm interested and I want to learn more about it.
Okay, then let's go back to my origins. I'm a Lao-born child to Vietnamese parents. They decided to immigrate. Originally, they wanted to go to the United States. That got declined, so we ended up in Germany.
Okay.
So there were me and my family, the four of us, including me and my parents. And we were actually refugees, like my parents, we lived in camps. And the first year of my life I spent in Thailand. I think that already set me up on an unconscious imprint. I was a baby, I wasn't unaware, so the water wasn't clean. I got diarrhea. My mom told me later I could almost not make it, but somehow I made it. She didn't have mother's milk, so she gave me, puddle water, so I got really sick. Anyway, I made it, I'm here. And I was naturally always a very curious kid, rocking on the chair, looking out the window. I thought there must be something better out there. So at that time, grad school, I didn't know what it was. And so I continued into, puberty, and I had posters on the wall hanging, from Dr. Martin Luther King, where it says, I have a dream. I didn't know what the dream was, but I was always very driven and determined to pursue my passion. And so after high school, I packed my stuff. I left the country, slept under the sky, stared at the stars, and was searching for my purpose, to be honest. And since I was naturally very kinesthetic, and everyone started med school, but I wasn't the smartest, so I had to study physical therapy. And from there, it evolved. I was always very focused on, treating the root cause of problems and from a proactive perspective. So I would certainly decline to treat you if you're not willing to put equals value to the table about, a lot of people are misusing the physical therapy, or they are not active enough. They only do it because the doctor prescribed it, but there's not enough motivation or internal drive with it. So that evolved into definitely, since I was an athlete then, doing multiple marathons and triathlons. I ran until I didn't know, until I really figured out what is my purpose. So eventually,
Right.
I studied sports science and traveled overseas, got enough life experience, and thought, okay, let's do it. Let's set up our own business. Let's help people to get healthier, leaner, and stronger. And so I founded High Performance.
Okay. Yeah, that's fantastic. Amazing story. So you talked about something that was very interesting for me. You said that from the early ages, you were interested in finding the root causes of problems. And of course, when you think about the problems, you think about the solution. So it's very interesting that most of the business, or maybe we can say all businesses, starts from here, which they find the problem and then they find a solution or create a solution for it. And that solution will become a business. And well, in the field of health and longevity is the same. If we look for the root cause of the problems, for example, like aging, that would be much better than later if we want to just treat those aging, especially related diseases. So I want to ask you that how the principles of functional medicine actually have influenced the development and success of high performance center. I want you to tell us a little bit more about your center, what you do there, how you help people actually to change their life.
A lot of people talk now about the 4P medicine. They actually gave a definition to it. I believe it came out of Silicon Valley.
Right.
And so unknowingly, I've been doing that, always been doing that, looking at, how can we predict, prevent, and how can we have the best possible personalized and medicine, and, how can we evolve the patient or the client into this with equals value, the insurer, the patients, and the provider, and so I was always looking at root causes. I highly respect Western medicine. I understand two worlds, the Eastern as well the Western medicine. And but I was always looking for the root causes. So functional medicine addresses that. It looks at lifestyle factors and genetics and environmental health, hormonal health, a whole screenshot of your whole matrix. So we look at the needle in the haystack is what you need to find.
Right.
And after doing it for so long, you just really go straight there. This patient, this client has been to everywhere and they're not getting anywhere. So that is the one thing, to find the one thing where the patient, the client, where you can meet them. This is where you will change everything.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, when I was actually checking the activities and what you're doing, I came across something interesting, which actually I'm familiar with since 2015, which is MTP. So MTP actually is the massive transformative purpose, which for a person or an organization that wants to reach the highest level of the performance, both for themselves and the people around them. So in your MTP, you talk about driving human evolution through longevity, space health tech, and consciousness. Very amazing topics next to each other. I want you to explain a little bit more how we can do that, and what is your maybe strategy to combine all of these together to reach that MTP?
Yeah, thanks for asking this. As going back to time, I was spending a lot of time on my own, finding my purpose, and it naturally evolved this path. It's not something that I was looking for. I sat with it and asked the right questions. So after working with so many people one-on-one, what is the next thing? How can I scale my impact? And I always believe going inwards to make an impact outwards. So I asked the question, okay, I love evolution. I love investing into personal growth, and I love learning anything about the evolution of humankind. So I asked the question, how can I scale my impact? And then it naturally came to me. I didn't have to search for it. I was pulled towards it. And so I then wanted to create more impact more than local. So I had to go global, and and I like complexity. So I ended up in moving from the health to the longevity, and choosing two sectors that are highly complex: longevity industry as well as the space industry, and then all opportunities came from there. So I then manifested the right mentor. I also believe the right mentors show up at the same time. Peter Diamandis, I was involved into his community where he speaks about the MTP, and the moonshot, something that's greater than yourself, and it fuels you. And so I signed up for the International Space University to think, okay, would I want to do a space startup? So I was in the business and management department, and I did all of these processes. Very little did I know that Peter Diamandis founded it 35 or 30 years ago.
Right.
So everything was at the right timing. And I believe anyone who is alive right now, I believe every single human being on this planet, if you're alive now, you have a gift and a purpose. To find that is the most amazing time to be alive.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting for me actually that you are working in a lot of different fields, which finally, I mean, if we combine all of them, you can see a kind of connection between all of them. For example, for me myself, it was like 10 years ago, I became interested in learning about future. And I know that you are also kind of a futurist that is thinking and writing and learning about future, which I came across World Future Studies Federation, which, it's a professional and academic organization for learning about future studies. So I came up with the idea of futurepreneurship because I have been doing business for many years and also, let's say, studying about the future. And I found out that there are some topics very much related and we can create a system. That's why actually I wrote my first book, The Rise of Futurepreneurship. And the more I talk to you and learn about you, I think you are also a kind of futurepreneur because let's say that the traditional entrepreneurship is very much different than now people like Peter Diamandis, you, and a lot of other people that they are doing because they are active in the field of space, health and longevity, exponential organization, different technologies, community, and let's say the business. So all of them together, actually, I've called it futurepreneurship. So it's very interesting for me that more and more people have the same fields that they are working on. So what is interesting for me now is that what excites you more about the intersection of space exploration and healthcare? How do you see the space health tech transforming human longevity in the near future, that we know that there are a lot of technologies are coming that still we even don't know, because, as Ray Kurzweil says, in the next few years, you are going to have the technological convergence where all technologies combine, and then we don't know how much power we have to change everything. So what do you think about that?
Well, the intersection of space exploration and healthcare excites me because it expands our capabilities to support human health in a much bigger picture. So space health tech forces us to think big, forces us to innovate under extreme conditions like microgravity, high radiation, which could revolutionize how we address disease and aging on Earth. For instance, research on muscle loss, bone
Right.
loss in space could lead to a breakthrough in osteoporosis patients. And space health tech, I believe, holds the key to human longevity and creates a blueprint for health that could withstand any environment, whether in space or on Earth. So many
Yeah.
innovations stem from space.
Yeah, absolutely. How do you see the future of longevity in like 10 to 20 years? What would be some technologies that we should expect that can totally change, the let's say, that I can say the field of longevity now, that a lot of people now are working on this field. But in 10 or 20 years, what are some unexpected maybe technologies that can help us to, for example, stop aging, reverse it, or something that even a lot of people cannot imagine. But well, people like you, futurists, who see the, let's say, different scenarios, first of all, and of course, in a much broader aspect. How do you envision that?
I see space as a testing ground that will fuel some of the most impactful longevity advancement for
Mhm,
humanity. Advanced bioengineering,
mhm,
developing solutions for age-related conditions and space adaptation, drug discovery, pharmaceutical research, leveraging microgravity for drug
mhm,
development and delivery systems, regenerative medicine, exploring the restoration techniques for space and Earth applications, or some even speak about imagine if we could 3D print,
mhm,
organs and ourselves on other planets.
mhm.
And
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Well, I mean, Bio 3D printer, actually, for many years, people are talking about, even myself, it was like 2010 in my first seminar that I had about health and longevity. I talked about the Bio 3D printer, and of course, it didn't exist then. I mean, it's like 15 years ago. But the first time, it was 2014 that we had a sample of kidney that was printed in just 8 hours. And after that, a lot of scientists and a lot of let's say labs have been working on that, even though still we have a lot of problems. But already we have a lot of organs that are printed, from bones, to different organs that we can replace in our body. But of course, we are at the beginning of this technology, because based on the let's say exponential organization or exponential growth, we can say we are just at the beginning, or maybe in the deception part of it. Still, we need to reach to that exponential growth, and I think it will happen in the next 5 to 10 years, so that after that we can have our organs already out there, in the bank of organs, and we can access to it easily. And actually, it can just single-handedly expand the human lifespan by 10 to 15 years. So some scientists and researchers actually, this is one of my favorite topic, and I want to know your idea about it, which it's a controversial topic. For example, Dr. David Sinclair talk about aging as a disease. At the same time, some other scientists are there and they say, no, it's kind of natural process and we cannot intervene a lot. There are a lot of problems in order to slow down or stop it. And fundamentally, they don't consider it as a disease. I personally think that we should treat it and consider it as a disease because it will have a lot of uh, positive results, financially, individually, economically, politically, even, and in a societal level. What do you think? And I want to know first your idea about it, and then I'll have more questions.
Disease has negative notion. It depends all how you define it. If
Yeah.
I'm born there, immediately I'm aging. When do I
Mm-hmm.
age? I didn't think about aging or giving a name to it after, I matured more and need
Yeah.
to. Okay, my hormones are different now, and I need to look into, reversing this process. I would, aging is a disease. It depends how you define it. I think aging
Mm-hmm.
gracefully is something beautiful. I think we should ask the right questions. I don't know if you have read the latest book from Professor Scott's, it is The Longevity Imperative, How to Build Healthier and More Productive Society to Support Longer Lives. We need to ask
Mm-hmm.
more questions about the economic impacts. What is it if I invest now,
Mm-hmm.
in my health span, and how would that benefit, society? And what's the important shift, the focus from life expectancy to health expectancy? I think we're still, health and longevity is still a personal choice. And
Mm-hmm.
you, as an individual, you choose. Some you ask them many. I mean, I literally coach people there, centenarians. They told me they didn't even plan to live until 100.
Mm-hmm.
Or sometimes
Right.
they joke and say things like, Hien, when is this over?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's still a personal choice, how you would like to age. You and me, we can talk about it, we get excited, but
Mm-hmm.
the general population, they still are at a total different awareness level
Mm-hmm.
about it.
Right, yeah. But there is one thing, let me tell you, because I see it as a cultural notion. I mean, the notion of aging. And what we have been taught is this, that aging is a natural process that you can't do anything about it, and you have to accept it and try to just spend it gracefully or try to, accept it, just accept it. And this is so dangerous. What I am talking about is not calling aging as a disease, it's treating aging as or like a disease. It's about treating it, it's about being proactive, not just still and don't do anything until, okay, the age of 60 or 70. And finally, suddenly you see that, okay, you got Alzheimer or you have a lot of other aging related problems. And then it's too late. So what I'm focusing on is this. Let me tell you by just like a metaphor. Actually, I'm working on my third book, which is a project, and I would like to invite you if you're interested. For me, aging is like a dragon that is killing or eating 100,000 people every single day. We know that every single day, 100,000 people die from aging related diseases. Now, the name of book is Caging Aging, which we need to stop this dragon from killing people. All right. So, 100 scientists are going to contribute to this book and write their perspective about that, why we should treat aging like a disease or as a disease, why we should not just, do nothing about it, and write it from their perspective. We can talk about it from philosophical point of view, from cultural point of view, from scientific point of view, from economic point of view. We can talk about it in many aspects. And the goal of this project is to bring this topic to people, normal people, not only in the scientific, let's say, field. So another thing that I'm doing and we are doing in HealthGevity Nation is bringing the science of longevity for children. And from the early ages, we need to tell them that your aging starts from, actually we can say from the time that we are born, right? But let's say from the age of 20. So after 20, step by step, year by year, you're getting old. You have to be careful and think from now. You have to start from now if you really want to stay healthy. This is what we want to do. It's like we need a paradigm shift about the notion of aging, that we should not wait until we get to that point that we can't do anything about it. This is the whole thing. So now, what do you think if we bring such a thing into the society so everybody start thinking about it and learning about it and become educated about it?
Without awareness, there's no change. So if we find a business model that incentivize people investing into preventative health, because the current business model is reactive and it serves you when you're already sick and it actually keeps you sick. So but there's no business model that is at scale for the 4P medicine, or now adding on with the prolonged medicine, But we're going into two arms. One side are the guys that want to live forever, and there are questions, of course, arising about the morality of immortality, where I previously mentioned, it's a personal choice. Not everyone wants to live forever. If you have a bad character, you lead wars, should this person live on forever? And then the other side are the biohackers. They're usually entrepreneurs. And entrepreneurs, we all know you are naturally driven. Any problem you can solve. You don't need to be an expert in it.
Right.
So these are, but we all come together, doing projects like yourself, where you're inviting in all kinds of people to bring value to the table, and then already we're raising the awareness, and then we just need the right business model that ethically scales,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because scaling health in your biology is also challenging, because we're biochemical individuals, so no one size fits all, but we have the advantage of, we don't know where we're going. And I know there's so many leaders out there like Brian Johnson, but everyone still needs to find their own way of doing it, but
well, and that's good. Yeah.
what we all have in common is that we can use the innovation technology for our benefit.
Yeah,
And everyone
absolutely.
has his own way of finding their way. There's so much space for everyone in longevity and space.
Right.
Yeah.
When you talk about longevity as a personal choice, I totally agree with that. But the thing is, when we do not have enough knowledge about something, mostly we make wrong decisions, right? So imagine ourselves when we were 20, we made a lot of mistakes. Why? Because we did not have enough knowledge and experience about that topic. Now, what we want to do is, by just, let's say, democratizing health and longevity among people, whether it's knowledge or action and technologies and interventions, so that it's available for everyone. And then, of course, they are going to decide. But, in my seminars, actually, I ask people whether they want to live 150 and more or no. And normally, less than 5% they raise their hand. Why? Because 150 in their mind is an old person that already has got cancer, Alzheimer's disease, and a lot of other aging related diseases. So they don't want to live to that age. Then I change my question and I say, imagine that now, with this state of health that you have, you are already 150. Do you want to die tomorrow? And nobody raised their hand. So if we guarantee that we can stay healthy, of course, no one wants to die the next day, whether it's 90 years, 100, 200, or let's say even forever, even though maybe, yeah, some people are there. And as the next question is about the death of death from Jose Luis Cordero, which I want to ask your idea about it. Well, some people really, they want to end their life, whether they are healthy or not. That's their choice, of course. And I think that will become an ethical question very soon, because as Dr. Cordero says, aging and even death will be optional for the next generations. So I want to ask your idea about this, and I don't know if you have read the book The Death of Death, but well, it's a book that talks about stopping aging so that we can live as healthy and as long as possible. And of course, then dying will become optional, and it's a matter of individual choice. So what do you think in the long term? I'm talking about maybe 100 years, 200, 500 years, because futurists, mostly talk about even millennia, right? 1,000 years later. What do you think?
Again, it's a personal choice, and sometimes it's really, sometimes I also believe it's karmic, why does your 4-year-old child get run over by the car? Um, so I think my focus right now is on quality, purpose, and fulfilling lives,
Yeah.
utmost impact, rather than purely indefinite one. But I personally, as a futurist, I think it will be optional, yes. And we already see the different startups. You could preserve your brain when the technologists revive your body and all of that.
Mhm.
It's just everyone's at a different level of awareness level, and we can't say, we're excited about living. I also use now the hashtag 200 healthy. I could say 220 healthy will scare people off, but
Yeah.
since I already embodied and have the experience with the
Mhm.
coaching clients, I believe it. They were born 1940,
Yeah.
and they're turning 102, 109 now. So I believe it because I
Mhm.
had the experience, but they don't.
Mhm.
You,
Right.
yeah, everyone is a personal choice. Even, I mean, we have other startups. You can, if you think your life is not worth it anymore, there's a startup that helps you with assisted death, a Swiss company, I think it is.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Absolutely. So, I had a podcast with Sergey Young, the
Yeah.
author of Growing Young. And well, I mean, his MTP is to help 1 billion people to live 200 and more. And he says that I want to live to 200. And so some people put a number, some don't. I want to ask your personal idea about yourself. It's interesting for me in terms of your perspective, actually, about living healthy, and also about the purposeful life, as you said.
Okay, 200 mobile, 200 strong, 200 healthy, and then
Mhm.
we'll talk, and then
Yeah,
we keep
for
talking.
more. Yeah.
Because I want to talk and make it accessible for everyone. I would love to, you know, make this accessible for a billion people. We're working on that, you know.
Mhm. Right.
Yeah. But as said, I can only do some. I'm the kind of person, whatever I embodied, I can teach. And we
Mhm.
know scientists don't live longer than a normal checkout woman on the desk.
Right.
So, personal choice, and I do not have any judgment when people say don't die or live to 200. As said,
Mhm.
you get what you believe
Mhm.
at
Absolutely.
your stage. They might change their phrase and say, okay, 240 only. So,
Yeah. Let me tell you my personal idea. Even though I'm thinking about no number, but at the same time, I'm focusing on today only. Even I don't think about tomorrow, because I really don't know what is going to happen tomorrow, even though I have planned for the next 10 or 20 years. But still, I say I want to make my choices just in the window of one day, 24 hours, the best choices that I can have and pick, and let's say do or don't do these and that. And when I just pass that day and I think that, okay, for example, 90% I have done the right thing about my health and longevity, then I would be much more motivated for the next day and for the next day. And I totally understand this. And I think we have to talk to people, especially in the society, from this perspective, that we don't care about how many years you are going to live. We care about the healthy years that you want to live, and then which is a very purposeful. So um, another question that I want to ask about education of health and longevity from early ages. you know that I talked about it, that we are focusing on doing some activities. What do you think, and how maybe we can, let's say, achieve, or what approach should we have for new generation, Gen Z and Gen Alpha, to teach them? Because for us, for Gen X and Y, nobody taught us anything at school, right, about health and how to take care of ourselves. So, what do you think about this? How much you agree to start from early ages about educating people and young generation?
Okay, it starts with the parents who plan to conceive. Um, even if you have make the decision, the male and the female, we are going to, have a baby, make sure that male and that female already preparing for that event. Because the child, until it's age 2 years, they still think they're an extension of the mother. They don't see themselves as a separate personality. So they
Right.
will inherit all of your trauma, your way of thinking, eating, and so forth.
Yeah.
So I think that's personal responsibility from the womb. And when they come to the world and you decide which school should I put it, I mean, no matter what school you to bring, public school or private school, it's not currently preparing our children for what's coming, right? So if I had the choice, I would probably do their own curriculum like Elon Musk and SpaceX. They learn the real problems and the real situation. Um, I think looking at we raised a very healthy and happy child. If I looked at it, and I don't know if you have children, but the children don't do what you say, they do what you do.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, absolutely.
um, I would say if you teach your children the art of healing
Mhm.
and meditation and
Healthy
that,
nutrition.
yeah, it's not something you can teach. You have to lead by
Yeah,
example.
yeah, you have to lead
Because
by
that's
example.
why so many diseases run the same family because you eat and you think the same way as your mother, father, and so forth.
Right. Well, we
Yeah.
become we become the average of five people that we have around us, right? So in a family, when you, let's say, sleep late at night, when you don't exercise, when you don't eat healthy, definitely almost all of them will be the same. So I want to ask you a little bit more personal question about your lifestyle. So in longevity, we have a lot of interventions that we can do, whether it's in lifestyle or other technologies. But I focus on lifestyle because I personally believe 80% of the whole health and longevity is about lifestyle. So, what are the most three important things that you do for your personal health, and you think they can totally change actually anybody else's life if they want to do it? Something that is available and accessible for everyone for free, which is the lifestyle choices.
Yeah, do the simple stuff before you start doing the fancy stuff. People
Yeah.
still don't do the simple stuff like sleep. I always
Mhm.
valued sleep before it
Mhm.
became trendy, you know.
Yeah.
Um, some say 6 till 8, 7 to 8. You can watch and measure your personal sleep habits, sleep, movement.
Mhm.
I exercise every day, and
How about
mm,
mindset? How much do you think mindset is important?
mindset
Having a
is the
mindset
number
of
one.
longevity. Yeah. Mhm.
Mindset is the number one. Health is an action. It's not a
Yeah.
literature or something. It's an
Yeah.
action. This is the problem that people start, they hire this and they follow that influencer, but alone, you're sitting alone on the plate. It's still you who you choose what gets into your mouth. You choose who you hang out with. So
Yes.
but I think that the complexity, we understand we can have a good conversation. We always look at the next new thing and trend, but the general population, they are still suffering the same way as 60 years. I mean,
Yeah.
60 years ago, we didn't even have these problems with an urge of mental health. I mean, if you want job security, go into mental health right now. It's
Right.
it's so much in need.
Yeah.
So
Here's something actually. I always say that knowledge is not power anymore. Action is power. Because I know a lot of doctors and PhDs and scientists, even in the field of longevity, which they do not do what they study and what they learn, right? Just look at their lifestyle from their sleep and nutrition and exercise and so on, because you cannot change it unless you start doing it. That's why we in HealthGevity Nation focus on actions and micro actions, actually, very single small things every single day. If you just do it and try to create a habit around it, then in the long run, it will change the whole lifestyle. So this is exactly what we are focusing on.
Wonderful work you're doing there.
Yeah, thank you. So maybe about your future plan, almost we are out of time, but I want to ask one or two more questions. So tell me about some of your future plans, about whether it's longevity or business or the space, probably, or something interesting from the news or something that you want to share with us.
Well, locally, we're considering opening a new location offering longevity services. Globally, we are going to have retreats offering the community. I think community work is still very important.
Yes.
And co-authoring and authoring some books. And other than that, the healthcare, as you know, is quite overwhelmed right now. And we try to make it very accessible now for everyone.
Well, that's great. So please let us know where we can find more about high performance and your activities, probably your website or your social media, which one you are more active on.
You just go on hiennguyen.com, and my name is on all social media, X, LinkedIn, and that's how you connect.
All right, that's great. We will definitely write it down in the description. Thank you so much for your time. It was amazing to have you. And let us know maybe the last word if you want to share the final thing with our listeners.
It's the best time to be alive. So pursue your passions and choose wisely.
Amazing. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for your time and have a nice day.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.